Hello everyone and welcome back to Hannah's Happy Home. Today's video is going to be a Q&A, but also a day in our life. So I figured I would make it a little bit of a different Q&A. Instead of me just sitting in front of the camera and talking for 20 minutes, thought I'd switch it up and just kind of take you along on my day, and then throughout the day I'll stop and answer some of your questions. I asked for questions on Instagram and also on the YouTube community tab, so I'll be answering as many questions as I can in this video. I won't be able to get to all of them, but I'm going to try and especially answer the ones that got asked the most frequently, and then just as many as I can. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and thank you all so much for watching. Good morning everyone. So it's already almost a little after 9 a.m. We didn't have quite as slow of a morning as we thought we were going to. Some of the chickens had gotten out, and so Jalen and I were running around at 7 a.m. this morning trying to get the chickens back in their pen. And then I had a little bit of work to do this morning while I was having my morning coffee. And now Jalen and the two older boys are out in the barn packaging eggs, and that leads into the first question, which was, what does Jalen do for a job? What does he do for a living? All of those types of questions. So Jalen has been running a small, now not quite so small, chicken egg farm the last 2 years. And then he does also help me out some with YouTube as well, the video editing, the projects, things like that. So I'm just gonna walk you guys out to the barn and tell you the story of how we started this small farm here on our property 2.5 years ago. The boys are in this barn packaging eggs through that white door right there. And this is where we used to have our small flock of chickens, but now all of the chickens are out there on our 2 acres, which I'll show you here in a little bit. I think I'll just go ahead and switch to a voiceover right here. That way I can explain it to you a little bit better. Okay, so we will start back in October 2021 when Jalen built the first hoop barn for our first flock of layer hens. He built this barn on these 2 acres that we had bought a few months after moving into our house. This land is right beside of our house, so at the time we just wanted to add the acres onto our property, and we weren't quite sure what we'd be doing with the land. Little did we know that a 1.5 years later we'd be building a chicken farm on it. So a quick backstory, Jalen's family runs a dairy farm and they would sell some eggs to their customers as well. But back 3 years ago, they were looking to just solely focus on the milk and have someone else take over the egg side of the operation. So Jalen decided to take over the egg business for them and build it right here on our land on these 2 acres. So our eggs are sold at basically the same places the milk is sold: stores, restaurants, markets, etc. If you've been here for a while, you know that Jalen was a crop farmer for 10 years. He grew up around farming. I grew up on a dairy farm. I spent my whole life there until I got married, and then Jalen and I lived on a crop farm for 7 years. So we both love the farming lifestyle, and we wanted our boys to grow up in that lifestyle as well. And they have just loved it the last 2 years, helping to take care of the chickens and gather the eggs. It's been a really fun experience for our whole family. Now you're getting to see the day that our first flock of chicks arrived, and funny enough, this was the exact same day that we closed on the flip house and got the keys. So it was a pretty big day for our family. And as you can see, I was very pregnant at the time. I think around 37 weeks pregnant with Levi here. Jalen's mom and little sister came over for the new chicks' arrival and helping us get them adjusted to their new home. This flock of chicks is now currently almost 3 years old, which is crazy. And we currently have grown to 3 barns and 3 different flocks of layer hens now. Our goal is to provide these chickens with a happy home and to provide people with good quality organic eggs that come from happy chickens that have plenty of room to run in large pastures outside and are being fed good organic feed. And when Jalen built this farm, he put a lot of protection in place against predators. So he has a fence buried a foot under the ground, a foot of concrete around the edge of all the barns, the brightest motion lights we could find for all the corners of the barns, and that has all worked great the last couple of years, thankfully. Now I'm giving you a peek inside the egg processing room where the eggs are packaged and kept in a refrigerator room. I'm so proud of Jalen and how hard he's worked on this business, and it makes me so happy to see him doing something that he loves so much and that the boys get to work alongside their dad every day. So that is a quick overview of our little farm that's been growing here on our property. Hopefully you enjoy getting to see a little bit about that. Now we will get back to our day and answering the rest of your questions. Okay, so breakfast is done, the kitchen is clean, and I am getting ready to send out a gift card to a giveaway winner. Then I have to go film some sponsored Instagram stories, but I wanted to stop here quickly to answer another question. I got a couple of questions asking if we're in our forever home, and I don't really like to call any house a forever home just because you never know what the future's going to hold. And we really love our home, but if the chicken business continues to grow, we may eventually need more land in the future, but we'll see. Okay, so the second most asked question after that first question I answered was, are we going to do another flip house? Will we ever do another flip house in the future? All of those types of questions. And if you're new here, in November 2021, actually the same day that we got our new chicks, we closed on a flip house. We bought a little flip house to completely renovate and resell. We worked on that all throughout the year of 2022, and then we sold it exactly almost a year later in November 2022. And that was quite the experience, a lot of work, a lot of stress, but it was still fun just to completely transform it, to see the before and afters. But yeah, it was a lot of work and a lot of stress. So because of that, we just haven't quite gotten back into it again. After we sold the flip house there for a couple of months, we were walking through quite a few potential flip houses. I think we walked through about 4 or 5. We got excited about a couple of them, but it didn't feel right. So we didn't end up going through with those flip houses. So ultimately we just decided to not jump right back into another flip house and just slow down a little bit for this year. Jalen's been focusing on his chickens this year, and we've just been trying to slow down, enjoy the little moments with the kids, especially with little Levi. He's growing up so fast, and I feel like that we were too busy back in 2022 with that flip house and everything when he was so little and growing up so fast. So that just kind of made us want to slow down more this year and just enjoy all of these little moments. Now that's not to say that we won't do it again, because we both do love real estate. We love walking through flip houses and dreaming up what could we do to transform it. We both are usually on the same page of our vision for a house, and that type of thing does get us really excited. We enjoy it, but it is a lot of work. It's a big investment, and it's also a big unknown. But anyway, we'll see what the future holds, but we will not be flipping a house this year as far as we know. And to go along with that question, I did also get asked, how do you know if a house is going to be a good flip house, like a good investment when you walk through it? What are some of the things that you look for? And when we walk through a potential flip house, we're looking for something that has potential, that has good bones. And she'd also asked, what is some red flags? A red flag would be, if there's too many major things that you're going to have to replace, like if you have to replace the roof, the AC unit, the electrical, major, super expensive things like that. Now that may not be an issue if you can get the house for a really good price. With that flip house that we did have to replace the roof and the AC unit, which was a big hit, but we did get it for a good price, so we were still able to make money off of the house when we sold it. And also I want to add, whether you're renovating your own house or a flip house, budget is always the biggest thing. You need to have a written out budget before you start the project. Walk through the house, come up with a detailed plan, and just try to really stick to that budget, because it can all add up so fast. Those trips to Lowe's when you're just throwing little things in the cart, that all adds up after a while. So you have to really stick to a detailed budget. So I'm gonna continue on with my day. I've got laundry to fold, kids to take care of, more cleaning to do, and I'm hoping to harvest more of my garden, so I will answer more questions throughout the day today. Okay, so I'm currently heading out to the garden to start harvesting the red beets. Last week, or like the last 2 weeks, I've been working at harvesting the cucumbers and the green beans, and I really needed to get started on the red beets. The boys are currently out there working at the chicken pen, and me and Levi are going to work on the garden. See how big these red beets are.
You think that's a good one?
I think so. So I'm going to harvest all the red beets that are about this size and try to leave the smaller red beets to keep on growing. I'm going to try to trim off the tops as I go, just so that I'm not taking all these leaves into the house. This little red beet came out with that bigger one, so I'm expecting that to probably happen with most of them, but we'll just see as we go. So I did get some questions about my garden, so I'll go ahead and answer those now. The first question was, do you can any of your vegetables from your garden? And I was hoping to do some canning from the garden this year, but so far I haven't. Every time I harvest the green beans, we always eat them right away. And the same with the cucumbers, but I might try to make some refrigerator pickles with the cucumbers. And last week I did film a few clips when I harvested the green beans and the cucumbers, so I'll go ahead and put those clips right here. A second question was, how's your garden? And the garden's doing really good, except for the green beans. They haven't been doing so good lately. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but thankfully I was able to pick quite a few green beans before they started to not do well. We are in southern Arizona, so this garden has to get watered every single day, and it's been a lot easier to water the garden lately thanks to our new Rainpoint system. And thank you to Rainpoint for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Jalen got our Rainpoint system all set up for the garden and our pine trees, and this is the smart garden watering system. So inside the house is a display hub where we can monitor how much water is being used, control the sprinklers, see the weather forecast. There's a lot of really neat features on there, and then we have a water flow meter so we can monitor the water usage, the flow rate, and then we also have the 2-zone water timer, and Jalen's going to walk you through how he is setting up this water timer.
So you'll just have your inlet coming out for your faucet plug in there, and then I'll have the garden hooked up with this one, and I think I'm going to have one section of our pine trees hooked up on this one. I can come out here and manually start it by clicking it on and off, and I'll show you that later, or I'll have it connected to the display in the house so where Hannah could just turn on the garden whenever time she wanted to, or we can set up a pre-selected automatic watering system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the garden and the trees and take this split off here, because I'm going to connect this directly to the faucet, and I'll have it on all the time, and then we'll be able to control the garden and the trees from in the house, or come out here and manually turn it on and off.
So if you want to try out the Rainpoint watering system, you can get 20% off with my code Hannah's Happy Home 20 off, and I'll have the link and the code typed up down below in the description box. Okay, so here's all of the red beets. There is still quite a few smaller ones out there, but I'm just going to continue to let them grow. They vary in size so much. Some of them are huge like this one, and then you've got just some teeny tiny little ones that accidentally came out with the big ones. But I don't even know if I'm going to go to all the trouble to can such a small amount of red beets. I think I'll get them washed, put them in the pan, and then see how many it is, but I might just do a batch for the fridge. I'm going to wash all these red beets, get them cooking on the stove, and they'll cook until you can stick a fork through them easily. And then I'll take off the skins, cut them up, and then cook them in the pickling juice, and then they'll sit in the fridge for a couple of days or a week until you can eat them. But I have already started to eat them. I love pickled red beets, and so I just couldn't help it. They tasted delicious right away, but they'll taste even better if you let them sit for like a week. So while you're watching me work on these red beets, I'm going to answer a couple more questions really quickly here. So the next question was, how long have you lived in Arizona? I moved from Pennsylvania to Arizona when I married my husband, and our wedding anniversary is in September. So this September, I will have lived in Arizona for 11 years. It was quite an adjustment moving from Pennsylvania to Arizona, but I absolutely love it here. Another common question that was asked was, what denomination are we? What faith do we follow? What religion are we? All those different types of questions. And we are non-denominational Christians, and I'll put a link down below if you want more details about what we believe. And I also got a lot of questions about why I only wear skirts and dresses, and I explained that pretty well in a Q&A that I did a couple years ago. Also explained a little bit about what we believe, so I'll link that Q&A down below if you want more details. But for a brief explanation, it's just what I believe, what my convictions are to dress modestly. Everyone has a different view on what modesty looks like, but this is just my personal convictions and how I choose to personally dress. So now it is lunchtime and Jalen is grilling up some cheeseburgers for lunch. The boys were swimming in the pool, Levi was taking a nap, and I am mixing up some of the best sauce for our burgers. You have to give this a try. It's so delicious. I'll put the link to the recipe down below. It's called a Big Mac sauce, and we had it at our party that we had the other weekend when we made cheeseburgers, and the sauce was a big hit, so definitely give this a try. I am sitting down here to get some work done. I have to finish up tomorrow's video, do the final watch on the video before I will save the video off of iMovie when I'm done editing it. I will watch the entire thing, just make sure that everything looks okay, the sound levels. But I thought this would be a good time to stop and answer another question. So I got a couple of questions along the line of YouTube. So this first question is, how did you get started on YouTube? Best tips for success. Third question was, what made you want to become a content creator? So I started my YouTube channel over 7 years ago just as a hobby. I honestly never thought it would get to the point that it is now. I always dreamed that it would. But when I started off, it was just a hobby. I didn't know if I would ever make any money from it. I didn't know if it would actually grow, but I thought I might as well just give it a try. I watched a lot of YouTube, cleaning videos, different things like that, and I thought, hey, I could film those in my own house. I could just get my phone, film the videos. I filmed all my videos on my phone, edited them on my phone, and then I moved up to my little camera, which I have back here on the shelf. And then I actually got a laptop, and then I moved up to a larger camera, and then now this camera that I have. So over the years, as I made money off YouTube and as the channel grew, I would upgrade my filming equipment and my computers. But starting off, you don't need a lot of fancy equipment. I started off filming on my phone, editing on my phone, and you just have to be yourself, film something that you're passionate about, be consistent with your uploads, upload good quality content. YouTube is hard though, even now at this point that I'm at, just trying to keep up with what does well on YouTube, what my audience is liking. It seems like some months and years a certain type of video will do really well, and then the next year it's a different type of video. So just trying to keep up with all of that. But I do still really enjoy it, and it is still a hobby for me. Yes, it is my job, one of my jobs. I do still have days where I just don't have motivation or inspiration for a video, and I don't know what I'm going to do, but then the next day my motivation will be back, thankfully, and it's still something that I really enjoy. And I'm so incredibly thankful for all of you watching my videos. Some of you say that you've been here since the very beginning, and I'm just so thankful for each of you, and what a blessing that this channel and all of you watching has just been to our family. A tip I forgot to add was to pick a niche and stick with it. My niche is home related content. It's kind of a large circle that I've drawn. I do all types of home related content, but it's something that I'm passionate about, and whatever niche you choose, it has to be something that you're passionate about, something that you enjoy. And sometimes it can take posting videos for months or even a year before you find what your specific niche is going to be. We've got several thunderstorms rolling in this afternoon. Monsoon season has officially started, which is awesome because we get some nice cloud cover and cooler weather here in the afternoon. But we're going to work on a little family project. Jalen is going to trim up these bushes, and then the boys and I are going to clean up all of the branches. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll through the questions that you asked over on the YouTube community tab and just do like a lightning round of answering questions and try to answer as many of these as I can. I'm seeing a couple of homeschooling questions, and you're wanting to know what type of curriculum that I use for homeschooling. We use the Good and the Beautiful curriculum. I have loved it, and it's currently the only curriculum that we're using. And the second question was, do you have any tips for a homeschool routine? And the routine that has worked for us is to just do homeschooling first thing in the morning. So as soon as the boys get done eating breakfast, we head right to the table and start homeschool. It doesn't take too long, and we like to just get it done before we move on with the rest of our day. And I can also multitask while the boys are doing school. I can be cleaning the kitchen and then come in and help them. And Jalen can also help out with the homeschooling since he does work from home as well. Carol asked, growing up, have you always enjoyed organizing, cleaning, decorating, etc.? Growing up on a farm in the country, I spent all my free time playing outside in the barns, fields, woods, down at our creek. I'd rather be outside than inside. But yes, I did enjoy having things clean, helping my mom, and I would always be dumping my drawers out to reorganize everything. Even though my room was a mess, I'd be reorganizing my closet. Then in my teenage years, I was always decorating things in my room, and I ended up working at Hobby Lobby at 18 years old, so that encouraged my love of decorating. But I would say that I truly started to enjoy all of that even more once I had my own home. Amanda asked, does your family support your channel? Yes, both of our families do support my channel. We have amazing families that we're so grateful for. Tara asked, is Jalen an only child, and does his side of the family ever visit you guys? Jalen has 9 brothers and sisters. There's 5 brothers and 5 sisters in his family, so he has a very large family. And yes, they do visit us. We see them all the time. They were just here last weekend. We were just down at their farm a couple of days ago, and most of his siblings are married, so it's a very large, awesome family with lots of cousins, and just such a huge blessing to have all of them. The boys just got done doing the chicken chores. Me and Levi got to follow them around for a little bit and help gather the eggs and stuff. Bubby's coming. Come on. Let's go inside. Hope that you enjoyed today's video. Sorry that I didn't get to every single question, but hopefully this video just helped you to get to know us a little bit more and to see a little closer look at our everyday life. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next week with a new video. Bye!